The Law of One. Book 4. Session 96. September 9, 1982. Ra, I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. We communicate now. Questioner, could you first please give me the condition of the instrument? Ra, I am Ra. The physical energy deficit is significantly greater than the last asking. There has been substantive lessening also of the vital energies, although the perquisite degree of energy for mental or emotional distortions of normalcy are yet available. Questioner, the instrument asks if the house which is to be our new location is capable of being transformed by painting and cleaning? We don't plan to put down all new carpets. Would cleaning the carpets that are there now be acceptable? I want to bring this particular house up to acceptable limits so that it is neutral after we do the salting. I have a concern only for the conditions for our work there. The physical location isn't that important. In fact, I don't consider that important at all. Could Ra comment on this? Ra, I am Ra. It is, of course, the preference of this group which is the only consideration in the situation for the contact with Ra. The domicile in question has already been offered a small amount of blessing by this group through its presence and, as we have previously stated, each of your days spent in love, harmony, and thanksgiving will continue transforming the dwelling. It is correct, as we have previously stated, that physical cleanliness is most important. Therefore, the efforts shall be made to most thoroughly cleanse the dwelling. In this regard it is to be noted that neither in the dwelling as a whole wherein you now reside or in the chamber of this working is there an absence of your dust, earth, and other detritus which is in toto called dirt. If the intention is to clean, as much as is physically possible, the location, the requirements for physical cleanliness are fulfilled. It is only when a lower astral entity has, shall we say, placed portions of itself in the so-called dirt that care should be taken to remove the sentient being. These instructions we have given. May we note that just as each entity strives in each moment to become more nearly one with the Creator but falls short, just so is physical spotlessness striven for but not achieved. In each case the purity of intention and thoroughness of manifestation are appreciated. The variance between the attempt and the goal is never noted and may be considered unimportant. Questioner, the sequence of events that I am considering is first the painting and then the cleaning, then the moving in of the furniture, then the salting and use of garlic. Is this as good as any other sequence or would another sequence be better? Ra, I am Ra. Any sequence which results in the cleansing is acceptable. It is to be noted that the thresholds are not to be crossed during the cleansing. Since such stricture upon use of the limen may affect your considerations, we make note of this. Questioner, would Ra comment on the technique of blessing the water that we will use to sprinkle the salt? I assume that we just sprinkle the water directly off of our fingertips onto the line of salt. How much water, in general, should be sprinkled on the salt? How wet should we get it? I would like to get this done right. Ra, I am Ra. The blessing of the water may be that one we have previously given, or it may be that one which is written within the liturgy of this instrument's distortion of the worship of the one Creator, or it may simply be obtained from what you call your Catholic Church in the form of holy water. The intention of blessing is the notable feature of blessed water. The water may be sprinkled not so that all salt is soaked but so that a goodly portion has been dampened. This is not a physical working. The substances need to be seen in their ideal state so that water may be seen to be enabling the salt. Questioner, I have planned to redraw the tarot cards omitting the extraneous additions by those who came after Ra, and I would like quickly to go through those things that I intend to eliminate from each card and ask Ra if there is anything else that should be eliminated to make the cards as they were before the astrological and other appendages were added. I would eliminate all of the letters from the edge of the card with the possible exception of the number of the card. That would be the case for all of the cards. In card number 1 I would eliminate the star, the wand in the magician's hand, and I understand that the sphere remains but I am not really sure where it should be. Would Ra comment on that please? Ra, I am Ra. Firstly, the elimination of letters is acceptable. Secondly, the elimination of stars is acceptable in all cases. Thirdly, the elimination of the wand is appropriate. Fourthly, the sphere may be seen to be held by the thumb and index and second finger. Fifthly, we would note that it is not possible to offer what you may call a pure deck, if you would use this term, of tarot due to the fact that when these images were first drawn there was already distortion in various and sundry ways, mostly cultural. Sixthly, although it is good to view the images without the astrological additions, it is to be noted that the more general positions, phases, and characteristics of each concept complex are those which are significant. The removal of all distortions is unlikely and, to a great extent, unimportant. Questioner: I didn't think that we could ever remove all distortions, but it is very difficult to work with or interpret these cards because of the quality of the drawing, and as we go through them we get a better idea of what some of these things are and how they should be drawn. I think that we can improve on the quality of the cards and also remove some of the extraneous material that is misleading. On the second card we should remove the letters and the stars. At the center of the female form he or she is wearing something that looks something like a crux ansata, and we should change that. Is that correct? Ra, I am Ra. We perceive an incomplete query. Please requestion. Questioner: I think that I should put a crux ansata in the place of this thing that looks a little like a crux ansata on the front of the female. Is that correct? Ra, I am Ra. This is correct. Questioner: then as to the thing that she wears on her head, that, I believe, is a bit confusing. What should it be shaped like? Ra, I am Ra. We shall allow the student to ponder this point. We note that although it is an astrologically based addition to the concept complex, it is not entirely unacceptable when viewed with a certain feeling. Therefore, we suggest, O student, that you choose whether to remove the crown or to name its meaning in such a way as to enhance the concept complex. Questioner: would Ra please give me any information possible on the ratios of dimensions, and the shape of the crux ansata as it should be made or drawn? Ra, I am Ra. No. Questioner: in card number 3 we will remove all the letters and the stars, and I assume that the little cups around the outside of the rays representing the sun should be removed? Is that correct? Ra, I am Ra. Yes. Questioner: in card number 4 we will remove all the letters and the stars, and it seems that again we have a situation of removing the wand and putting the sphere in the hand. Is that correct? Ra, I am Ra. Again, this is a matter of choice. Though astrological in nature, this particular scepter has possibilities of relevance in the originally intended concept complex. This instrument is experiencing some small lack of that distortion which you call proper breathing due to the experience of your near past, as you perceive it. Therefore, as this instrument has requested a substantial enough amount of transferred energy to be retained that it might effect a comfortable re-entry, we shall at this time ask for one more query, after noting the following. We did not complete our statement upon the dimensions of the crux ansata. It is given in many places. There are decisions to be made as to which drawing of this image is the appropriate one. We may, of course, suggest viewing the so-called Great Pyramid if the puzzle is desired. We do not wish to work this puzzle. It was designed in order that in its own time it be deciphered. In general, of course, this image has the meaning previously stated. Questioner: is there anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact? Ra, I am Ra. Continue in harmony, communication, praise, and thanksgiving. We would note that this instrument's distortions would be lessened were it to refrain from the speaking to some extent for a diurnal period, or perhaps 2 if the difficulty remains. We would also recommend against the activities such as running which would cause rapid respiration. This after effect of the greeting is not necessarily long-lasting. However, as this instrument has some blood vessels in the forward regions of the skull, that is, the integument covering the skull, which are greatly swollen at this time, and since this instrument has the distortion known as the streptococcal infection, it is best to be full of care for a short period in order that the distortions do not catapult the entity into longer-term after effects. All is well. We find the alignments satisfactory. I am Ra. I leave you in the love and light of the Infinite One. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the one infinite Creator. Adonai.